It's Thursday morning in Australia, ladies and gentlemen, and it's 9:17 in the morning. I've gotten up, I've had a cup of coffee and a couple of teas, and I just saw Polly's latest video. And when she said I quit, I thought she was quitting everything, and I did a tribute video to her, which seems rather silly now. But I saw her latest video, and it's not really a response. This is just my thoughts. Um, it's called Blind Sheep. Now, Polly's right. The globalists may have won because let's look at it. We're in Agenda 2030 style conditions. We can't travel. We're forced to be in our homes. You know, we the very important human interactions of touching, hugging, and kissing, and everything like that. That's frowned upon. Um, a person might be perfectly healthy, and they go down to the supermarket and then they just clear their throat or cough, and they're just about shouted at or besieged upon or told to told to get out of the store. It's in this um uh mob mentality with these crazed, fearful people that have now been created. So Polly's right. They may have won, but one thing Polly's done is be able to give um, people like us that are properly awake and not just blind sheep um, ways to counteract the system. And even if the globalists have overall won, even if I go down, I'm gonna fight it till my last breath. I will not give them the satisfaction of saying it's 5 when it's really 4. They're not gonna bring me down. I can tell you that right now. But onto the main premise of the audio, blind sheep. Now, many years ago, 15 years plus, I was on the left. And one of the main reasons I left the left was because of the blind sheep, hive mind groupthink. And what do we get now on the right and on the conservative side because of the Q movement? Hive mind, blind sheep, groupthink. So at the moment, I feel ostracized. I feel alone because I'm an independent um, group. I'm an independent thinker that doesn't just say trust the plan every time, like a robot, every time a query or a question or a critical thought comes out of someone's mouth and I don't attack them. It is absolutely moronic. And this is what I'm going to talk to you about, ladies and gentlemen, and this is what's going to really shock you. And you're going to say, oh my God, I can't believe Robert thinks this. But I'll tell you this right now. Even if Q is correct and Bill Gates gets thrown in jail and the UN gets disbanded and the EU gets disbanded and China gets exposed and destroyed and gets rebuilt and becomes a democratized nation like we all want, and we all go back to nation states, and there's no Council on Foreign Relations, and there's no Bilderberg, and there's none of it. If Q is absolutely perfect, in a way, it's still bad. And I'll tell you why it's still bad. Because it is going to absolutely enshrine the fact that um, it is going to absolutely destroy critical thinking, and it is going to make even everyone on just about everyone on the conservative sides robots and lazy, decadent people because they're going to rely on a message board to save them all the time. And ladies and gentlemen, we need to rely on ourselves and rely on our own fucking brains and rely on our instincts, which over the years humanity has lost. And what coronavirus has proven, we're continuing to lose because even conservative people who um, previously were independent thinkers have now turned into hive-minded group thinkers, either over coronavirus or over Q, and that is an extremely dangerous thing. And what is even more extremely dangerous, look, I'm gonna be honest with you. Um, am I pleased that Trump won the election over Hillary? Of course I am. But I'm not a blind supporter of Trump either. I'm not a blind supporter of anyone. I mean, some of these people are so blind and so robotic and so almost in a hypnotic trance over Trump and over Q that if Trump went down the street and murdered 40 people with a machine gun in front of everybody, some of these Q people, like, and I'm not having a go at them as people, they're probably nice people, although I think some of them could be shills, because let's be honest, they've people like Praying Medic and Red Pill and Methods and Joe M. They've profited very well over this Q movement, haven't they? And they've got themselves a lot of Twitter followers. So do I totally trust them? I've got to be honest with you. No, of course I don't. Do I follow them? Some of them on Twitter? Have I private messaged them? Yes, I have. But do I totally trust them? No, I don't. Because let's be honest. They're they've done all right out of this movement, haven't they? Let's be fair. I mean, Red Pill's got over 200,000 followers. He's got sponsors on his videos. I'm sure he's making a bit of coin. Now, he might be a perfectly fine person and he seems like a nice guy. But, any of these Q people totally trustworthy? No, they're not either because one, they're really nice people and they're just totally blinded by Q, or they're shills set up to divide everybody, which it seems like the Q movement is doing, because anyone who's a proper conservative, independent, critical thinker are getting ostracized by people on their own side. It's shocking. So yeah. And as I said before, even if Q is um, it's actually it's in some ways it might be even more scary if Q is totally correct, because as I said, um, people have already lost um, most of their resourcefulness and most of their critical thinking, and if Q is totally correct, then a majority of these um, millions of people are just going to rely on um, some message board to save them in the future. When we've got future battles that are going to come across, and it's a real problem. You should always maintain your own critical thinking, your own brain, and you should never just blindly trust anything. Blind trust and blind faith and blind ignorance in anything or anyone is utter suicide, ladies and gentlemen. Utter suicide. And I also want to tell you that if the globalists have won and people like Bill Gates get their way and force people to get RFID chipped and vaccinated, they're going to have to drag me because it's the mark of the beast, ladies and gentlemen, and I will not willingly get vaccinated. I'm in an unfortunate position where I'm in a wheelchair and I live at home, and I hope they wouldn't do it. But uh, my mother and my brother, despite even knowing my thoughts, they might even be such fearful that they'll drag me down to get vaccinated. But I just want to let you know here and now that I will be talking to them about uh, what I fear that may be coming, and I will strongly stress to them that I do not want to get vaccinated again, and they may, because of my disability, I may be um they and because I can't escape, they may I may be forced to be vaccinated, but I just want to let you, and RFID chip, but I just want to let you and Polly and everyone else know that I will not be doing it willingly, and I will let my family know that it would severely affect our relationship if they were to force me to do it. Just one thing before I go, I completely understand Polly going off Twitter, but she keeps me going, and she's a friend of mine. I need Polly. I need her in my life now. I know she reads YouTube comments and things like that, but half the time when I get up and watch her videos, there's already 668,000 views on her videos and already 200 odd comments, and she's probably already gone through and scanned a few, and she doesn't see mine or whatever. I can understand her wanting to go. I can understand you wanting to get off Twitter, Polly, and I can understand. Um, I can understand that completely, but on your contact page on AmazingPolly.net, you haven't got an email address, and I can understand you're not wanting to give your personal email address. But if you could set up a separate email address so that people like me um, can keep in touch, that would be much appreciated because I need you, babe, and I'm sure many others do. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's 13 minutes. That's long enough. Thanks very much for listening, and I'll catch you next time.